X39 has really changed my life. I'm not stuck at home in pain and in bed. I'm out here with my friends and enjoying my family.
Big thank you to LifeWave for helping me, helping my family, and helping the 100 people now in our team who are using LifeWave daily and their families. Big thank you. Love the products.
And I have energy through the roof.
I sleep better. I have so much more energy.
Throughout the day, I can focus better. I can concentrate in my work.
Our church worship service lasts 45 minutes. For the last 2 years, I've not been able to stand that long. 2.5 weeks into wearing the X39 patch, the pastor said, "You can now be seated." It dawned on me at that moment that, my goodness, I've been standing this whole time, didn't realize it.
After starting using the technology for approximately 2 weeks, my pain completely disappeared.
32 years of pain gone in 3 days.
I just love the products. They just help me to feel younger and younger year after year.
Thank God for X39.
My skin becomes younger, softer, firmer.
It's been really amazing.
I love X39 because it really helped reduce the inflammation in my knee. I can now run again. Woohoo!
Welcome. Welcome. It's great to have you here. I'm Connie Lucas, and I'm a presidential director with LifeWave. And tonight I am filling some big shoes. So I'm here to help out Robin and Gregory while they take a very well-deserved vacation. And so I just want to thank also my support in the background, Liz Hodges. Without Liz, you wouldn't be seeing me here tonight. The running of the background is so important and critical to everything we do. And I also want to give her a shout out for the lead up we have now. The video that we share before any Zoom we have is wonderful, and that was a creation of Liz's as well. So thank you, Liz. So for those of you that are new or seeing this for the first time, we come together on Monday evenings for community. We come together as to celebrate achievements. We come together to glean wisdom to what's new, what's going on, and anything we can do to support our businesses and support community. And so tonight we're really fortunate. We have Kai Jacobson joining us. And Kai, I asked Kai, I'm like, how long have you been around? He's like, well, I've been around 18 years. So Kai has been around since the beginning of LifeWave. He's one of the founding members, and he is a senior presidential director. Kai has also been in the network marketing industry for 45 years. So there is a lot of wisdom and a lot to learn from Kai. So Kai, I'm going to have you join me if you don't mind. Kai's going to speak tonight while he's coming on. I'll just let you know. He's going to talk a little bit about three-way calling and how to use it in the business, not just maybe the nuts and bolts of how to do it, but when it's appropriate and why you would want to do a three-way call to grow your business. So Kai, I'm going to shut off my camera and I'm going to let you take it from here, and you just call me back in anytime you want.
Okay, thank you, Connie. Can you see me? Am I here for everybody?
I see. Yep,
okay,
we
great.
see it.
I'm here enjoying the beautiful fall in Colorado. You can see it behind me. It's actually interesting. I didn't even think about this. I never know what I'm going to talk about and say. I mean, I know that we're going to talk about three ways, but one of the interesting things about fall, Connie, is that the greenness of trees is chlorophyll going in them. And when they start to die and the chlorophyll drains out, all the true colors of the trees, like, red maples are really red leaves, but they look green for the summer because they're producing food and they have all this chlorophyll. It's just photosynthesis. And in the fall, like in their kind of end of their life, their true colors come out, the actual colors of the leaves. The green drains away and you see whether it's a brown leaf or a red leaf or a golden or yellow leaf. And I think that's kind of fun. I don't know what that has to do with network marketing, but just thought I'd share that with you, that our true colors do come out eventually. Anyway, three-way calling. As you said, Connie, I've been in the industry for 45 years, and it is really the core of the business. And so many people who are very good at explaining things and used to being really good at talking to people. And on the flip side of the other coin, people that are very shy and aren't really able to talk to people that well in the beginning until they kind of get more comfortable with the process. It works for both incredibly. Three-way calling is if you're not being as successful in network marketing as you would like to be, you probably are not doing three-way calling, whether you're very good at doing presentations or whether you're kind of uncomfortable with it at first. And the reason is that the three-way calling is just so powerful. And so when you say when is a good time to do a three-way call, I would say almost always. I mean, there are people that come in as a customer and that they really know what they want and that's very clear. And excuse me, I've got to talk here for a second. That they you don't have to do a three-way in every situation. But when you're kind of introducing people to this business and the opportunity and the product, the best time and appropriate time for doing three-way calls is every time, essentially, other than if it's just kind of a slam dunk, you kind of know where it's going to go, because it does so many things. Gregory wrote me from Italy. They still can't quite let go, and it's so beautiful how much they care about everybody, Gregory and Robin. And he said, well, don't forget to talk about the three most important points about three-way calling. And one of the things about it is that you're educating, you're training your team when you do a three-way call. And I used to say in the old days, it's you earn as you learn. There's a lot of axioms in network marketing that always come back, and it is a way to train people. That's number one. Number two, you're teaching people about your team, that they're not alone. That you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. These are, again, axioms in network marketing. They're old cliches, but they're so true. It's very powerful to know that you're not alone and that you're working as a collaborative experience with other people. And then, of course, it's a way to train people too. So, it has a lot of elements that are powerful. What I like to say about three-way calling, and I want to talk about the process, is it has a very specific formula that I've been doing for for 45 years. And again, if you're not as successful in your business growing, I would suggest that maybe you're not doing three-ways. I really want you to ask yourself that question. Like, if you're not growing in your business, are you doing three-way calls? Because I feel it's the cornerstone of people being successful. Whether you're, again, very experienced at talking to people and promoting this business opportunity and understand a lot of answers about questions about health or about the pay plan and the business opportunity and how that works. Or again, if you're just kind of getting up to speed about it, it works incredibly. And so the way that the process works is another axiom that I like saying. There's so many cliches in network marketing. One of them is that, we're in the sorting business. We're not in the convincing business. And what I mean by sorting is the three-way process is all about sorting. So, and the most powerful thing about it is you learn to ask the right questions. And so by asking the right questions, we're given 2 ears and 1 mouth. And in asking the right question, you get to hear where somebody really is at, as opposed to just project on them. Like, oh, of course they're going to want this, or they could be so good at this, they'll be amazing. When you start to hear what someone says, then you really truly hear where they're at, and then you can work appropriately with them and be appropriate with what your actions are. So the way that I do, and all this kind of unfolds in how the process works. So the first stage of three-way calling is to learn how to invite people to take a look at the opportunity. Of course, we love using the InTouch app, but you can invite people. Like last night, we were in hot tubs, Lynette and I, at the hotel that we were staying at, and we met some wonderful people that we just had a fun conversation with. I brought up the stem cells. They asked, what do you do? And I said, well, we're working with a breakthrough in affordable stem cell technology. And they said, wow, we're really into health. And they wanted to know more. So because they wanted to know more, we could go further in the conversation. And so at that point, the whole point is to send them to the video. You do not want to be the presenter. You do not want to answer all the questions to be the source. You want to use the tools. It's very, very important. So, you just send them a little video, and we've already seen that they watched the video. And then of course you follow up right away with them. And then you ask 2 questions. And the 2 questions, when you see that they watched the video, is what did you like best about what you saw? It's a very specific question. And you don't say, what did you think? Or what were your thoughts about it? You say, what did you like best? You're kind of framing a positive response from somebody. What did you like best? And then you listen, and they might say, wow, my back's been hurting, and I think this might really help me. Or stem cells are such a powerful thing, and this is so reasonable. This could be a great business. This looks like a great breakthrough technology. And, so you write down on a little piece of paper, you keep track of everybody, what their hot button is. They like the idea of stem cells, or they think it will help with their knees. In Robin's case, it was about her knees. It might be about sleeping better. It could be one of 100 different things. And then you repeat back to them, yes, I think this could really help with your knees. Or, yeah, it's a great opportunity. Stem cells are just very, very powerful in medicine. And this is a brand new technology that's so affordable. So you respond back to them by letting them know that you heard what they said, whether it's their knees, their eyes, sleep, or that it's a great opportunity. And then you ask what I call the $1 million question. And that is, this is why you're not guessing where they're at. Again, sorting. You're saying, well, I know you only saw a short video that I just sent you, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your level of interest? And that's the key words. How would you rate your level of interest on a scale of 1 to 10? And if they say they're a 7 or better, we know that that's a good enough fit. There's something right about what's going on in the communication. If they're, a 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then I'm very positive. I say, wow, you're a 5. You only just saw a short video. Let me send you another one. We have this great one about horses don't lie. If you like what you see and you have more questions, ball's in your court. My contact information is on that. Get back to me. So I always leave what I call the window open for people when I'm sorting that way. If there's 7 or better, which a lot of people are, after they see that, one of the videos that you send, especially that 3-minute one with the wave, talking about the stem cells, it's very powerful. They go, wow, I'm at least a 7. And you go, wow, that's my magic number. That means we have a pretty good fit. I'd like to introduce you to the team and the people that I'm working with, some people that have been doing this for longer than I have, that I work with, and I'd love to introduce you to them and get your questions answered. That's the key thing. And that's how I bring the 3-way into the call. So the initial people are sorting by inviting people to take a look, taking their temperature on a scale of 1 to 10, what their level of interest is, sorting. And when they have 7 level better interest, then they're getting their team, their upline, to work with them. And by inviting them to a call, you can either set up an appointment, or you can just do it right then and there. Like in the 3-way training that I like to do, I say it's very important when you get involved with LifeWave to learn 3 or 4 people in your upline, to actually know their name, know a little history about them, and to ask them, can I do 3-ways with you when I get people that are 7 level of interest? I'm only going to bring people to you that have watched a video and who've rated themselves as a 7 level of interest. Not me, I'm not guessing, but I know that they're a 7 level of interest. And most people that are working and building their business are waiting for that. They would love to have their day filled with lots of calls coming in, with people that have been sorted to a 7 level of interest that want to know more and get their questions answered, because that's a much better quality lead and team to build collaboratively than, you know, the initial sort, you know, because that's what you have to do in the beginning until you get your team. And then your team starts bringing you people, you know, for these 3-way calls. And that's what's so powerful. And then the new person, one sees that, wow, I don't have to know all the answers. You know, there's a team out there that's going to work with me, help me. They're actually watching, like, underneath it all, like, could I do this as a business too? And the 3-way, that's where the power is. Then there's 2 people on the line that agree that this is a good thing, and 1 new person. And the beginning person who brought the 3-way, they're getting their upline to work with them, and they're getting to learn how to say the right things and the answers to these questions that come up about the product or about the business or about the pay plan. And it's so powerful because they learn as they're earning, and they're working collaboratively with their team. It's just so powerful, this 3-way. And, you know, one of the other examples that I like to say, I use the example of a car mechanic. I was working with a guy who was a car mechanic. I could never fix a car. I mean, that is so complicated, getting in there and rebuilding an engine and all those pieces and cleaning them and knowing which one's working and what's not. It takes, to me, a brilliant scientist that can rebuild an engine of a car. So, but they may not know much about health. And so let's say they got involved because their body really hurt after working on cars so much. They started using the patches, they had a great experience with it, and they called up a bunch of their friends, and their friends said, wow, you know, and they started answering a lot of questions. They go, well, you know, you're a car mechanic, you know, that's a hard thing to know, but what do you know about stem cells and things like that? That's what they're thinking in their mind, even if they're not saying it, like, well, he's a great guy, but, you know, he doesn't really know about that. He knows about these other things. And that might be true with everybody, especially your family and relatives and friends. They've already kind of pigeonholed you to kind of see you in a certain light, and maybe don't see you as a person talking about health products or about making money and, you know, an opportunity. So that's the power of the 3-way. They don't know that person that you're bringing in and introducing them. You know, and it's your job to introduce them in a good way. It might be like with me, might be, wow, you know, Kai's been in the business for 45 years. He's been with the company for 18 years. He really knows a lot. He can answer your questions. It might be somebody who just joined and is so excited about their results, like they had a great experience with the product. And that might be even more powerful for a new person because it's more like them. Or they might just been so excited and they've already become a manager within the first week or 2 of the business. And that new enthusiasm is so contagious. And you know, it's even more powerful than somebody who's been with the company 18 years because it matches more where that new person is at. And so don't feel like you can't start doing 3-ways until you're, you know, a senior presidential director. You can start doing it right away, you know, very quickly, as soon as you become more familiar, especially after you've started to build a team of 5, 6, 7 people by listening to 3-ways with some of the team members above you that you've been doing 3-ways with. So it's a beautiful system for, you know, creating a collaborative experience, and for, you know, somebody not pigeonholing you because they don't know that this new person and they've been introduced hopefully in a powerful way. You introduce them just like Connie introduced me, and then you kind of get out of the way for that person to, you know, say their piece and ask questions and let them work for you. And their job is to help bring that person from a 7 up to a 10, which means they're ready to try the product. And most of the cases, it's the same questions. How does the pay plan work? How does the product work? You know, do you know of any other stories of other people having success with it? They're basically, you know, 10 or 20 things they might ask. It's not that hard to learn. And if you have 4 or 5 people that you do 3-ways, you can actually do a couple right away. You can say, hey, are you available right now? I can get a couple of these people on the line and you can meet the team and get your questions answered. Or if they're not picking up, you know, you can set an appointment saying, well, looks like everyone's busy right now. You know, how about we do this 5 o'clock this evening? I'll make sure I have a couple of people lined up that you can ask questions for. So I like trying right away after they say there's 7 level of interest. And if they're not available to do it, or you can't connect with anybody, then I fall back on setting up appointments and things like that to do that. And the 3-way is very powerful. You'll find you'll get twice as many people, maybe even 3 times as many people getting involved in your business if you follow that training, that system. It's so much more powerful than you just speaking one-on-one with people. It's just amazing. So Connie, I'm going to give it back to you. Do you have any thoughts about 3 ways that you like and some thoughts that you have on that?
Actually, I just want to validate everything you said. It was absolutely spot on. I mean, Kai, have you ever been brought on with somebody who this person knows nothing at all? They haven't watched a video. They don't even know what they're looking at, but their person is so excited they just stuck you on a call, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like kind of out there just flying blind. So I love the idea of what you said with, you use the tools first. You go ahead and you use the app. You bring them on our Blitz and you have them watch one of our pre-done presentations that we do 4 to 5 times a week. And then you find out by asking, what did you like best? You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, you really find out where they're at. And then it's time to send them a little bit more information if they're not quite there, or that 7 or above, put them on. I think that makes a huge difference to having a really, really clear, effective 3-way call. And it's the duplication piece. When I first started working, and Robin was who I was utilizing for 3-way calls, and I didn't really understand the technology. So what I did is I listened to everything she said and the questions she asked, and I began to parrot that. And so when I got on to do 3-way calls, it was the same exact verbiage I had heard from Robin. And when I listen now with, my team, they learn that same verbiage and they learn. So it's that same piece of duplication as with everything else in our business, is that we're just duplicating it down and training, to your point, our team as we go. I think it also opens up the idea that, to your point of, you're not a prophet in your own community. And sometimes people won't share personal things with someone they're very close to. And I can't tell you how many times I've been on a 3-way call and we got off and somebody said, I've known that person for 40 years and I never knew that about them. Because we can ask questions that maybe somebody really close to them can't ask, to really get to the crux of what's important to them. So I took a ton of notes on that. And everybody in there, you've got Pete saying he can personally attest to the fact of how great you are at 3-way calling and the fact that it works. Absolutely. Let's see, Connie, do you have a list of questions you can share with us? The questions Robin's asked, and Kai, I might ask you some of yours as well. Do you have some particular?
Well, one thing that I just thought of that I didn't kind of add in, Connie. By the way, thank you so much for sharing what you just shared. And thank you, Pete, too. I love doing 3-ways with you. I miss doing 3-ways with you. We were doing so many in the beginning and your group was growing so fast. And I think it's something that never ends. It's something that we can continue to always do. But I've always said that the proof is in the numbers. And if you really want your business to grow, if you're on this call because you're a business builder and you really want to take your business to the next level, I invite people to have 3 new conversations a day. In the beginning, you have to invite 3 people to look, and you might have 100 or 500 people on your phone. You can start inviting with that app, and then after you have maybe 8 or 9 or 10 people that came in, guess what? If you train them how to do this, you'll start getting lots of new calls coming in and new conversations without doing outbound calls. They'll all be coming inbound calls, those 3 a day. And then after a while, when your team gets even bigger, like Gregory and Robin and myself and you, Connie, too, you get to get on a conference call. You're invited as a speaker, and there might be 50 or 60 people on this call that I'm having a new conversation with that I haven't had a conversation with yet. And guess that that still fulfills my 3 a day. Like that might take care of now a week that I have to do, because so in the beginning you say, well, I want to be able to talk to 100 people. Well, you don't have 100 people that want to listen to you right away, unless you're an influencer and you already have put that together in your life. But in the beginning, you have to kind of go out and knock on a lot of doors and invite people to take a look. After a little while, you train your team to bring 7 level of interest people who've already watched the video. That's a much better chance of bringing those people in. and you might be getting 3 calls a day. And then a little later on, when you get a little farther along, you become a senior presidential or presidential director, you might be invited to be a guest speaker on calls, and you can have new conversations now with 200 people maybe in one call. And that's when you see the leverage of the power of network marketing and the pay systems that happen, where you make a small amount of money from the whole network that you start to expand out. So that's kind of how the process geometrically expands. But it all comes down to having new conversations.
It does, and it shifts. And I love the fact that you talked about the idea that you and Lynette were, in the hot tub, in the spas, and having fun. And I've heard you say this before, you're always talking to people wherever you are, and you're asking them questions, and you're seeing, are they leaning forward or are they pushing back, to gauge how it goes. But you could spend, at the level you're at, you could spend all your time just being that person on the receiving end of the 3-way call, but you're still out looking for new people.
I do both.
So you still have to carve out, and sometimes it's hard. I know I've fallen into this. We fall into management mode. We have a big team, we fall into management mode, we're busy doing all of their stuff, and we don't carve out that specific part of the time that's just for us to talk to new people as well. And then we have to remember that even though we need the answer, we have to call up somebody else, right? I had a client that was so funny, and she used to own a network marketing company. And so at one point she had knee issues, and we were talking about other stuff, and she was just, I needed to get her on with someone else. And finally I was trying to put her on a 3-way call with Robin, and she looked at me and she said, Connie, why do I need to talk to her? You've already got me enrolled. We're already going. Why do I need to talk to her? And I said, because you need to talk to somebody besides me. I don't even care what you guys talk about. It just needs to be somebody besides me. So I think that's a really important piece. They've got some suggestions. They're all asking about the idea of putting in some of these key questions that you ask on a 3-way call. Possibly it might be something in Live Younger Success at some point to capture some of those type of things. I think a few of my questions become, is that magic wand? You guys have heard me talk about, if I could wave a magic wand and anything were possible, whether it be for your health, your lifestyle, or your finances, what would it be? And the key is I have to get quiet, right? I just have to ask it and just sit there, because they will tell you what they want. They will tell you what's important to them. And you know which side of the path, whether it's health or it's wealth, that you're going to continue that conversation. We know it all goes together. But as I talked about from stage, if you have someone who's struggling to put food on the table or pay their rent or pay their bills, they are not interested in purchasing a health product, but they would be interested in a way that they could make some income and change their situation. And so by asking questions, the question, it isn't exactly what question you ask, it's the fact that you're asking them to get clarity around what's important to them at this period of time. And you may have somebody, to your point, Kai, where you're saying, hey, I think they're going to be fantastic. Boy, they're going to be able to build. They know everybody. They're going to be great. But if they're struggling, really struggling with their health, or a loved one is struggling and they're the caretaker, they may not be in a position to look at the business, but they're certainly in a position to get on the products and move organically into the business like Robin did later. And look at her knee. You said the other day, that knee has over 100,000 people in her network that she's been able to help around the world, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's very important to listen. It's about asking questions and listening and not talking at people. That's the key. The key is that you want to ask lots of questions and then respond to what they say so they feel heard. And that's really important. And that will lead you into what's true. And the more people you have conversations with, someone asked, like, how do you do it at a big event? Pete is one of my favorite people to work with. I love hanging around with Pete Rodekup. He's, he can't go anywhere without having conversations with everybody. And he does it very beautifully. It's actually the same technique, but I'd use, but he's just the master of it. He's so much better at it. And wherever he is, he just sits down somebody, like we were in Playa del Carmen. It's a very social place down there in Mexico. And it's so social that, you know, when you sit down to have your ice cream, they have a little bench that you sit down. And so we sat down to have some ice cream, I remember last year. And there was this, you know, beautiful African-American woman that was there sitting next to her, licking on her ice cream. And, you know, we were like, Pete goes, "Hey, where are you from?" And, "Oh, you know," and she was somewhere back in the States from, and, you know, "What brought you down here?" And it turns out she was a nurse. And then, you know, he says, you know, and then finally she said, "Well, what do you do? How are you down here?" And he goes, "Well, I'm working with this breakthrough in stem cells." And they, you know, immediately she was all really interested. "Oh, my brother was getting stem cell shots." And, you know, it's just, so the way that you do it is through asking questions. We always ask, you know, "Where are you from? You know, what do you do in life? You know, what allows you to be here skiing, or to be in Mexico, or to be, you know, in this moment in this place?" And if that's the recruiting. And if they ask you back, then it goes further. Like you said, you can lean into it. If they don't, then you're done. You know, then you do that with somebody else. And it's just so easy. It's just being friendly, basically. And if they kind of lean towards you and say, "Okay, well, who are you and what do you do?" "I work with stem cells." "Oh, I've heard about stem cells." Then you go further. If they go, "Who do you think is going to win the football game tonight?" You just go there. And that was done. You know, you had a conversation. It counts as one of your three. But I call it permission marketing. You want to be so subtle about it and present with people that they don't even know if they didn't kind of lean forward. If they lean forward, then it goes much deeper. But there's so many people that do lean forward because stem cells are very exciting.
Well, I think we jump in sometimes too soon too. And there's something that Anne Moreau always says that sticks, and I think is really brilliant, is when someone tells us maybe what's going on, we want to jump in with the solution. But we need more clarifying questions, and we need to draw them out and let them speak more. And so she'll always say, "Well, what have you tried?" And then she seeks to understand all the different things she tried, right? Before she starts giving a solution and trying to fix them, it's what else have you tried? And then from there, after what have you tried, and they lay these out, are you open to alternatives? Right? Because if they're not, and they say, "Well, my doctor does this, and my doctor does that, and I'm only going to do this, and I'm going to have surgery, and I need lots of meds," they're probably not your people, more than likely. So those are some other clarifying questions that can continue that conversation when they're leaning forward, to just get them a little more open, let them speak a little more, and you can grasp the nuggets you need to turn it around, as you said.
And the one last key piece that's so beautiful, it's refining and bringing it to a deeper level of conversation, Connie. But the last piece is, it's very important that if they did lean forward and have an interest, that you make sure you follow up with the contact. You know, that basically you make sure you get their business card, or that you get their email address, whatever they're comfortable with, or text, that you can text them one of the videos. If you walk away without having a way to contact them, but you gave them your card or some information, nothing will ever happen. You know, quite honestly, or I'm going to say never, but 1 out of 20 people will have the courage to kind of reach back out to you. It does take our effort to reach them. And if we don't have a way to, we don't have their cell phone number or their email or something, or their business card to contact them, then no matter how great the conversation was, it usually doesn't really end up going anywhere. So it's very important when you go to like an event. Somebody was asking, like when you're at a big event, let's say you go to a Tony Robbins event, or some great new age thinker, it's not about how many business cards you handed out, it's how many you collected and had a little note like red hair, very outgoing, very quiet, whatever, something so you could write on the card that you remember who the person was, because they don't all have a picture on. And you want to collect 1,000 cards at a Tony Robbins event, or at least 100. And if you hand out 1,000, you're not going to get a call back. But if you have 1,000, now you have 1,000 people you can reach out to with the videos and the app and things like that.
That is a nugget. That is a major nugget right there. That is super great. I think too that the piece that we forget is, we think in the beginning, I think it's very common to think that, well, they're not interested because they didn't call me, or they're not, I've done something wrong, or we take it personal. And what we're not realizing is we are not the most important thing in their life. And although LifeWave is front and center for us, it's not front and center for them. And so many times when you do get the courage up and you're ready and you follow up, they say, oh yeah, I've been meaning to call you. Oh yeah,
Yeah, that happens so much. That's really true.
All the time. So don't be afraid to call them back. Don't be afraid to take that initiative, because it's not personal. They're just busy with what's in front of them and what's important to their life. And, we always go back to that thing that Phil Jones says, we're just interrupting their day enough to let them know that there's something they didn't know about. And it's the same with the follow-up. We're just interrupting their day just enough to remind them, hey, we're over here. So that was great.
This can all happen on social media. And I'm not an expert in that area, but social media is a great way to create connection with people. But the most important thing is the same old school stuff, is you have to connect with people first on social media. You can't just like vomit over them or just pitch them. You have to connect with them and create a relation, and then you can ask questions. And when the opening happens right, then you can share a bit of, hey, would you take a look at this? And let's talk about what you think about that. But that might be your 5th or 10th time of connecting with them. I do it quicker because in belly to belly, I used to, when I first started network marketing, Connie, I used to go to the mall where I lived, and we used to kind of do this thing where we would we go at lunchtime when people were having out from their work and eating lunch, and we look for the most intimidating, dynamic people, not like the person reading a book on a bench, somewhere alone, that probably would not be a great marketer, but the person who's briskly walking and filling their space, and you'd walk up to them. You'd learn to be courageous and come out of your comfort zone and say, God, I just couldn't help but notice how dynamic you were. What do you do to be so dynamic? Do you work out, or do you, what is it that allows you to carry that energy? And people love to talk about themselves. And then we go into our thing eventually, where we'd ask some questions. And so, that's not a bad training, so you can start to really get out of your comfort zone and play chicken with yourself. Don't go for the low-hanging fruit of somebody reading a book quietly in a corner in the mall, but go for the most dynamic people you see walking, and see if you can start to get out of your comfort zone. And these are great skills. It's not like the way to build your business. It can be, but those are skills that are great to practice and learn in a safe place where you're never going to see the person again.
Right.
And
what's it going to hurt? What's it gonna hurt? Thank you so much, Kai. I really appreciate your time, and everybody is commenting on how absolutely wonderful this training has been, and it is. And like I said, I've been doing this for quite some time now, and this is such a good reminder to everyone. I also want to let everybody know that we've got the special. It is the Manager Mania bonus is back again, and so they. You just check your emails. That came out Sunday evening in your emails. So make sure to get on there and take a look at what's going on. You can, first-time managers earn a $100 bonus, and anybody you sponsor earns you can earn a $50 bonus when they make managers, and that's completely unlimited. So as many people as you've sponsored, turn them into managers, help them get their $100, and you can collect $50 for each one. We also have in Scottsdale coming up, you'll see in the newsletter, we now have our invite for the Scottsdale seminar. It will be October 22nd, and you're going to have some great leadership in the room. Also, Dr. Nicholas Tivoli will be there, patching people and helping us with that, along with our global marketing director, Jeff Hildebrandt, and our U.S. sales manager, Garrett Johnson. He will be there as well. And then tomorrow night, on Tuesday night, on our practitioners Zoom, we have Dr. Jeff Hubbard will be speaking. And so get everybody onto that. That's one of the really important prospecting calls, when if you can just invite and lead people to that call each week, and then other times utilize those blitz calls that we're doing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, and look for that schedule with a flyer attached. Go into liveyoungersuccess.com and go. It should also be in our newsletter as well. Yep, It's right under there in our newsletter. And if you go into liveyoungersuccess.com into what's new, right there, click a flyer, watch those. We are getting great feedback on the fact I've had lots of Crossline people as well as my own team calling and saying, I got 2 people on there and they both signed up. I got somebody on there and they came in. And so it really is working if you can get your people onto those calls in front of somebody other than yourself. It's magic. So thank you again, Kai. This was brilliant. 3-way calls are the magic of our business. And I will see all of you on Wednesday when I do my presentation, and have a great evening. Thank you so much.